When I was in my 20s and 30s, I almost never thought about my age. But now that I'm in my 60s, late 60s, 68 to be exact, I seem to think about age every day, multiple times a day. I don't know how bad this is for me. Susan, how often do you consider your age?
You mean how often in the day do I think how many days before death?
Yeah, exactly.
It does give me pause now, and I do think I should look ahead. And I keep telling myself, "Oh, be Zen, be Buddhist, be here now. Don't worry about that. We only have the present." And I'm thinking, yeah, well, what are you going to do if something happens to you tomorrow? So,
Well, and every little ache and pain reminds
oh
you that
God,
you're getting
yes,
older. Every little thing that happens just
that's
says
it. What's
your
that?
days are numbered,
That didn't
buddy.
happen yesterday. Now I have it today. What is it?
Hey, folks, welcome to Older and Wiser. I'm Bob Bates in Los Angeles, joined as always by my friend Susan Sikora up there in Northern California. And today we are talking about aging. I came across this interesting item in Inquirer.com. Here's the headline: If we can't call old people old, what is the right word?
Oh, I've got the answer to this, but go ahead.
We do spend a lot of time thinking and wondering, what should we call ourselves? Are we mature? Are we older? Are we old? Are we seniors? Are we elderly? All of it sounds pretty crummy to me. What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, isn't it interesting how we never worried about what we called older people when we were younger?
When we were younger.
Well, what the hell,
Yeah.
those old people, right? But
Yeah, and we made fun of them as well, which is it's also something we did that now looking back on it, I feel a little embarrassed about.
everybody
Because
does.
it seems silly and they seem frail and isn't that cute or whatever. Now it's not so cute.
I agree. Old, to call people old, I think using the word old for old people is old. Probably the word doesn't matter, but no, I don't want to be called old necessarily. Although I've called myself, old at sometimes when I'm doing things. I like the word grown up.
Oh, that's kind of cute.
Now,
Yeah.
can't take credit for it. I heard
That's an AARP thing, right?
No, I heard I don't know, it might be now, but I heard it years ago from Diane Sawyer. And I think it was an interview she did on Oprah's show with Oprah. And I think she said she said she preferred grown up because she's got a few years on me.
According to the author here, Stacy Burling, she did some research on this and asked various people their thoughts about it. The word older somehow is less offensive than old. Isn't that interesting?
Yes.
Senior citizen, that word has truly fallen out of fashion. I don't hear
I'm
anybody use
so
that anymore.
tired of senior citizen. When I hear senior citizen, you know what I think of? I think of some, I hate to say this because there's a lot of good ones. I think of some community center where you have to go and you sit around and nobody looks great because who cares anymore? I
Right.
can't. Life is too.
Well, I think the word seniors seems to be okay. It's that citizen part of it. It just sounds a little, it's like, why are you bringing up the word citizen? Sort of,
Well,
it's such a,
the citizen. I think
dated.
citizen comes up because older people, grown-ups, tend to turn out on voting day, or they vote. Let's put it that way.
Citizens, that's right. Exactly. They do.
Do you remember the term Gray Panthers years ago?
Right.
So I think that was kind of a don't tread on me kind of thing. I'm going to vote and I'm going to let you know my druthers in the polling place.
So we haven't figured out the name, what we should call it. What about mature? A
Depends
mature
on how it's
person?
used. I think she's so mature, or her I don't know, her heart her kidneys are. No, I don't like
Yeah.
mature. Take it off.
Yeah.
Mature and
Well,
mature. You know what? Mature is too close to manure. Thank you.
AARP used to have a magazine called Modern Maturity. I believe that was before they just changed it to AARP. And I thought it was a kind of a handy way of referring to older people without.
Yeah.
What about aging population? That seems okay. That's kind of a literary thing, though. That's more for journalists. aging experts have tried calling people young old, those who are 65 to 74, old for 75 to 84. Now that's really insulting to be called old.
Old.
And then there's the oldest old that are 85 up. So I don't know. By the time you're 85 up, you probably will own all of these descriptors.
When you know what? When you're 85, you're not going to give a crap.
I know, but I still don't want to be called oldest old. That's
No,
just
old.
kind of
She's the oldest
worst.
old coming to the party.
There was a quote in this article from John Chauvin, who's a professor at Stanford University. And well, I thought it was interesting because he likes to think of middle age as the middle of our adult years rather than the middle of our life. See, I always thought middle age would be like 40, because if your average age is 80, then the middle age would be 40, right? But he says, no, look at it this way, middle of your adult years. So that pushes it up, to like 50.
All right, so the middle of the, yeah, I think that sounds like a better idea the closer I get to the end of my life. So,
Yes.
but I will say this, he's got a point, because people are living a lot longer now. You never heard of people living to 100 years old very often back in the day. Now you hear about it a lot. People live into their 90s. It used to be that when you were 60, you were considered older, and then that pushed up to 70, and then now it pushed up to, I think it's in the 80s. People think now you feel old. And I have friends who are in their 80s, and they say, boy, I feel old,
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily the word, but I think I still like grown up. I'm back to grown up.
This professor has an interesting way of maybe deciding when someone is old. He feels like you're really not old until you have a 4% risk of dying in any given year.
Oh, let's go in. Let's all go in for that test together, shall we?
Yeah,
Get a group rate.
So
You're kidding me.
So just so you know, that's 76 years old for men and 80 years old for women. I mean, I can kind of live with that.
To do what? To call those old?
Yeah, you can call me old when I'm 76.
Okay,
So,
Grandpa, I'll remember that.
give me another 8 years and then we'll be there.
I think also if you worry about this stuff, you need more to do in life, which is a problem when you're older sometimes. You spend a lot of time in the younger years running around going crazy, trying to get jobs and keep jobs and do jobs and impress your boss on the job. And then all of a sudden you retire, or they retire you, or and all of a sudden it's like, now what do I do?
Exactly. This article also brought up another interesting thing that I am dreading, and that is ageist language. Now, have you ever heard a young person speak to an older person and say something like, "Hi, sweetheart, what would you like to eat?"
I'm not your
Or,
sweetheart,
"Hi,
and I'm not
honey."
eating
Yeah.
with you.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's insulting. You're talking down to older people. It's called elder speak.
Yes, I've heard it.
And as part of that, you shouldn't say things like, "You don't look 80." Just don't say that. Or here's an insulting one: "How are you doing, young lady?" That's so sarcastic.
Yes.
And clearly, she's not a young lady, but yet you're referring to her as it's not nice.
It sort of hits the same nerve that you heard when all of a sudden you were called ma'am in the grocery store. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
I think it depends on how it's meant, but you're right. All that language that you just mentioned, I don't like it. You can leave it out.
It's cutesy. It's ultimately insulting, even though I know it's intended to be complimentary or try to be loving. I hate it when someone says, "Here she is. She's 80 years young."
I hate that. 80 years young. That's like, you're old, but we're not going to say it now, although we all know it, including you.
I came across this interesting item in Best Life Online. The headline is, "Young people just don't understand some common older people habits." So they listed like 40 things. We're not going to list all 40 of them, but there's a few of them that are worthy of some mention, I think.
Why not just do all 40? We have time. We're retired.
We're retired. So, for example, one of the things young people don't really understand is that old people still leave voice messages on voicemail. They don't leave a message. They text. They hang up and they send a text. Whereas we, older folks, apparently will just leave a long rambling message.
I think the long rambling part is the offending factor. People will do, and here's my really big beef, and people do this of all ages, at least when they left messages. They'll go on and on, here what I'm doing, I'm having a good day, I thought I'd get you, I guess you're at church, or I guess you're at the grocery store, or I guess you don't have to guess where I am. Just say who you are and leave your number. And then if they remember to leave their number, they leave it at the very end of the long message, and then you have to replay the whole thing to get to the end, and the whole thing was boring to begin with. And so, you delete it. When you have, if I call you and say, hi Bob, it's Susan, call me when you can, nothing urgent, here's my number, just for handy reference.
Yes, just for handy reference, so it's right there. Even though your number, I wouldn't remember it, I haven't written it down anywhere, it's in my phone, so God forbid I should have to call you and really write down the number.
Oh, I don't know where we're going to get in memory care in the next century.
Well, young people don't even make calls, frankly. They just text, or they'll if they have to make a call, they'll text you first to see if you can talk, and then they'll call. I don't think youngins call anymore. I think the phone is not something that they use.
Yeah. So. Although I have to, and I do say, as I don't care whether it's an older person, a grown-up person, I prefer a phone to a text, only because the text is fast and you don't have to stop down and talk. On the other hand, the phone, you can hear the voice. So if somebody's calling you to let you know, for instance, that somebody in your family is sick, you can hear if there's worry in the voice or not. I can't get that on a text.
That's true. They also mention here, they talk about old people like to eat early. And I used to think that was because restaurants had early bird specials for people over a certain age. I don't remember what the cutoff was, but I do remember that they used to do that. I don't know if they're still doing that for older people. But it used to be like 5 o'clock. If you could eat at 5, you could come in and eat at this restaurant for a cheap price. And that could be it, possibly. But I also feel like at my age, I need to eat early so my food can be digested before I go to bed.
So you can work it off.
Work it off. It's got to go down, or if you lay down right after a meal at my age,
grab the Tums,
get heartburn, and get out the Tums. I don't know.
No, you know what? I would say that that's probably true. I try to move up my main meal to lunch, just reverse them. But I also find that a couple years ago I went on a diet, and the biggest thing I did was I flipped my meals. I tried to have what I might have in a substantial dinner for breakfast.
Oh, that's smart. Oh, that's very good.
And then dinner was just grazing. The only thing is, if you graze celery, you're okay. If you graze chocolate, not so much.
It says here, when an old person takes a photo, it's because they want to take a picture of the mountains or the rivers. When a young person takes a picture, they're taking a selfie. Is that true? Do you ever take pictures of yourself just going to places?
I don't.
Yeah.
And I used to take a lot of pictures, but here's the thing on that one. I read this and I thought, what else is going on here? Okay, young people, they love to, here I am doing this, and here I am doing that, and here I am doing this and that, here we go. So that's great, and if you're fascinated by yourself, fine. I think what you're missing, is that when you send this out, no one is quite as fascinated with you as you are, number one. No one will say that, but the bargain is, if I send you my picture and you tell me you're fascinated, then I have to agree to tell you how fascinated I am from your picture that you're going to send me, when neither of us want to see either of them. I don't need to see what you're eating, okay? People said food. I don't know why they do this.
I don't know why I do take pictures of my food. Sometimes it's a compliment to the chef. Oh, the food is so beautiful, I'm going to take a picture of it. Sometimes it's just you want to remember it in case you want to make it again, or say, hey, could we make this again? Look at that, how good it is.
If somebody can make your chicken dinner look like 1001 Dalmatians or something, take a picture of it. Otherwise, I really don't care. I don't care. You had a salad. I'm sure there's greens in that salad. Maybe it was special because they added shrimp or they added clams or whatever. Fine, enjoy it. Tell me it was good. And if I'm in the area and I ask you about that, just if next time you're in the area of such and such, try this restaurant. Fine. Otherwise, I don't need to see what you're eating.
Yeah. The kids do tend to do a lot more social media than older folks, although
Now,
there is one.
If somebody's making something for a party, all right, like a friend of mine, they had a party for her granddaughter who was she just turned 1, and so she did this little platter. She did what do they call that? Charcuterie. Charcuterie.
Yeah. Charcuterie, yeah, okay.
I've only heard that word a couple of years ago. Anyway, if you do that and you're not a professional chef and it does come out looking lovely, send it to a few close friends who will appreciate it. But then, that's it. I mean, other than that,
like art.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one platform, the one media platform that, social media platform that old people do seem to like, that's Facebook. But you don't like Facebook.
I don't.
It used to be the kids started it and they loved it and they were all over it, and now they're gone. They have left Facebook.
They left.
And
Yeah.
they've left
See?
the old folks.
Came and it went. Goodbye. They come, they go.
They come and they leave it for us to clean up.
You know what? I don't care for a lot of those things, and I think maybe it's less of an age thing, and maybe you have felt this too, having worked in TV also, is that when you work in media, even in the old media or the standard media, your privacy kind of goes out the window little by little and you can't get it back.
That's true.
And so when you put something out there, and I was teaching a course on TV hosting for a while at a college in San Francisco, and I said to them, look, you put something out there, think twice, because it lives there forever. And you don't know who's going to see it. And when you apply for a job or you want to impress somebody with something, you don't know if they've seen it or not. They may not bring it up. They may just say, we're going in a different direction. Goodbye.
You don't know why. Absolutely.
That's why I'm careful about that. And I just, plus then you know what you're going to get if you get on Facebook? You'll find old friends. That'll be great. And then you'll hear about and then you'll get all the pictures of everything they've done in the last 30 years or however long it's been. And then they're going to start sending you pictures of their lunch.
It always ends up with the pictures of the lunch, doesn't it? It always comes back to
If I want to see food, I can take 4 steps into my kitchen, open the refrigerator door, and see it.
There you go. It says here that old people don't use Google Maps. That old people seem to like to get directions to places and ask people how to go somewhere. Are you one of those? When you get in the car and you go somewhere, do you get your phone out and put it on the dashboard and let the voicemail
First
tell
of
you?
all, if I need to know where I'm going, and I know I'm going to some place that I don't know exactly where it is, or I think I know but I'm not sure, I'll Google it on my laptop and print it out.
Oh, you print it out. Oh, that's pretty funny.
That's like that ad on TV where the guy, the insurance ad, where he goes, "How many printed directions?" Okay, we're off to a bad start because all my hands go up, right? And I thought, I don't have a problem with that. I just, make it big enough that you can see it and not take your eye off the road and then, drive into a tree. But I'm telling you, first of all, it depends on where you're going. If I'm just going locally around here, if I need GPS, I need more help than just GPS.
Oh, I love GPS. That's one of the things that I think is ultimately going to help older folks in the coming years is the GPS and the Google Maps, being able to just tell you where to go and being able to say, "Hey Google, can you take me somewhere?" And tell them where you want to go. It's pretty fantastic.
I'm sure Google will tell me where to go.
That's going to be our future. Here's one of the things I never understood, why old people like bingo so much. What is it about bingo? There's nothing old about it. It's a game and you can win prizes. And what the heck is it that attracts old people to bingo?
My friend Vivian, with whom I've been buddies since college. We were college roommates, and we go way back, so we're BFFs. And she's Jewish, and she used to think every time she went by a Catholic church, the name of it was St. Bingo's.
Well, that's where it starts, right? It's bingo night at the Catholic Church. Yep.
Bingo. I don't think it would be anything that I would. I don't think it would be my cup of tea. I wouldn't say I dislike it. I haven't really done it, and I'm not
Maybe
enticed to
it's
go out and find it.
you can sit together and sit in the same place for a long time, and it's a relatively simple game. You just have to look for the numbers. I suppose it's not a challenge. It's not a strategy so much as it is just being together with other people and doing a relatively simple task.
And maybe winning some cash.
Maybe winning some cash. People don't write letters anymore.
Oh.
People don't. They email.
Yeah, in fact, I still look for a really good box of note cards here and there. They're not as good. I don't spend a lot of money on greeting cards because for $4 and $5 a pop, forget it. I go to the dollar store or Trader Joe's. They have them for 99 cents or $1 in both places. So that's it.
Yeah, that's good.
But here's what I do like. If you're gonna send a card or if you're gonna thank me for something, yeah, write a little note. It doesn't have to be long, but I do like a handwritten note, and I recommend it. I'm sorry,
It's
am
nice.
old school on that. Yeah,
It is nice. And you do it in cursive, right?
absolutely.
Kids don't cursive. Kids aren't learning cursive in school these days.
Yeah, well, because they figure everything is tight.
Where we represent the end of cursive, I believe. Do you wear slippers to bed? Slippers, not to bed, but do you wear slippers?
I hate to tell you, I walk around barefooted.
Me too. I don't wear slippers. That's an old person thing, apparently, according to this. Also, pajamas. Do you wear pajamas or something, just a sweatpants or something? I mean, like official
variety.
top and bottom.
Sometimes I wear, great big sweatshirt and bottoms, or nightgowns are good because they don't get all twisted up if you turn around and everything.
Negligees, things like that.
No negligee. I bought a really fancy negligee once for my honeymoon, and I think that went to Goodwill decades ago.
We only have a couple of minutes left, but there's one thing that they mentioned here in this article that I thought was weird. Old people like to talk about the days when they used to drink from the hose.
What is this? You know what? My mother, God rest her soul, she had a big pitcher of ice cold homemade iced tea.
Yeah.
Made great iced tea. Of course, she put out on 2 cups of sugar in it, but it was good. And so it was always easy to get a glass of iced tea rather than drink from the hose.
There was no need to drink from the hose. Doesn't sound very sanitary to me. Hey, we're running out of time. Almost gone. Can you give me your final thought for the day, Susan Sikora?
Yeah, if you're 30 years old, don't call me sweetheart.
Okay, we won't. For all the stuff that matters when you're 60 plus, visit us at olderandwiser.com. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.